Today we're going to talk about food and being a vegan in Ghana.
I'm fighting Satan forever, I'm not down with the dude, he taking me for a fool. I talk to the king of kings, he been showing me things and tapping into.
To be more precise, I can tell more about food in Tamale and food in other smaller communities. In Accra, I cannot say that much. I just know that there are so very nice restaurants, and so there's a lot of nice, cool food. It's, I would say, rather easy to get to food which you feel familiar with because it's just the capital city, and as always, this is kind of an exceptional place, I guess. As I mentioned in my other video, if you cannot boil it, then just forget about the food because you don't want to run into typhoid or any other issue. Be careful around street food as well. I mean, there is some street food which is fine, and I'm gonna come to it later. Last thing is, as a vegan, always be sure that there is no meat and fish in any sauce or anything. If you say you don't want this sauce to be made with fish or meat, sometimes it can happen that these words, no fish, no meat, get lost somewhere, and in the end there is something like fish inside. So just emphasize on the fact, no meat, no fish, no meat, no fish, because you're allergic or something. For some people it's hard to imagine that you don't eat fish and meat, but that you'll find everywhere. As a day usually starts with breakfast, I want to start with breakfast too. The breakfast depends on the place you are. I'm having like 3 different versions. First one is you're in a guest house and you'll be served a certain breakfast. Second will be where you are able to cook yourself. The third one would be you're at a guest house and you're not getting breakfast served. My first guest house experience was a very, let's say, easy one because they offered an English breakfast, which is usually with these red beans and toast and a sausage, but they also had oats. So I usually took oats as breakfast with tea, with black tea. There's always an opportunity to put sugar in it. So if you're the person who does not like tea without sugar, you won't be alone, because I've noticed many people cannot drink tea without sugar. Other kinds of breakfasts in guest houses I've been usually served bread with tea. There are like 4 different kinds of bread. That is butter bread, tea bread, sugar bread, and wheat bread. The butter bread, although it has butter in the name, it's often made with margarine, so you're safe to eat it. And also the other kind of breads, they don't have any milk or butter in it usually. This bread I ate usually with margarine or just the bread itself, and with tea, so you dip it in your tea. My definition of a tea is usually that you have like a tea bag of green or black tea, or leaves of your choice like lemongrass, which actually grows there, or neem tree, which I've actually never tried, but it's good for your health. But as I learned, tea can also be like Milo tea, which is cocoa powder with milk powder and some other vitamins or whatever they put inside these sachets, which you just pour in your cup and put hot water on it. That is regarded as tea as well, which I wouldn't have called tea before. My type of tea later was drinking cocoa powder because I really like a hot chocolate. The cocoa powder I drank with water. That's the breakfast I usually had when we had the chance to cook for ourselves. I usually did my oats with cocoa powder and water. Sometimes I had fruits like banana or mango, which I put on top of it, or pineapple, which was really nice. Saying that, it feels like a very fancy breakfast. Regarding the fruit, I really liked eating fruits because it was easier to eat fruit than vegetables. Fruit which is easy to get is banana, the local ones and the foreign ones. The local ones have a more triangle shape, I'd say, are less yellow. They have a different color, but you will learn, you will see, and you will also taste the difference, because local ones are less, for me they're less sweet, and you can eat more of the local ones, and the foreign bananas are more, they taste more like bananas I would get in Germany as well. So, and they're really like sweet and heavy kind of mango. They're the big mangoes. I'm sure like there are different kinds of big mangoes, but for me, I always made the difference between the big mangoes and the small ones. And the small ones are usually yellowish. There's watermelon, there's pineapple. For the watermelon, there are different kinds of watermelons, of course. The Ghanaian ones and the Burkina Faso ones. Phoebe and I made the experience that we like the Ghanaian one more than the Burkina one because it was just sweeter. Or maybe we just got a bad watermelon. Then there is pineapple, and of course there are two different kinds of pineapple. I would usually go for the one which is like this shape because it has more taste and it's sweeter, and the other one is more round and like not that tall, and it's more yellowish. Of course there's also popo, so papaya, which personally I don't really enjoy eating, but it's not my taste. There's also this yellow thing, which Phoebe said it tastes like apple, or like you eat it like an apple. I think it tasted good. I think it's called a yellow melon or something. There are oranges, which are really nice, and we like, especially from November to February. They're really small, and you usually suck the juice out of it, which my first experience was a little hard. I didn't want people to see me because I was really struggling, but you basically squeeze the hell out of this orange, and then when it's completely dry you can open it and then eat the leftovers basically. And there are like two different kinds again. There are the more yellowish ones, there are the more reddish orange ones, and the reddish orange ones taste sweeter than the other ones, but yeah, both of them are really nice. With oranges you can buy the already like half peeled off one, which is there to like squeeze and drink the juice basically, and the other ones you can also like just buy the normal ones which have the peel around it, and yeah, which you peel yourself. These are the fruits I ate, and I really enjoyed eating. The mango is so good, and the pineapple as well. Of course there's coconut, but this I didn't like. You can drink a coconut, you can eat a coconut. I had one experience where I ate too much coconut, and I was like, maybe I should just not eat like a full coconut all by myself, or not in one day, because it was a huge coconut. After breakfast there comes lunch. When we were at the studio in Tamale, there was like a food joint where I usually went to get my food, and I tried different food joints, but in the end, like after I got the typhoid, I stick to this food joint You basically stand in a queue and you wait, and then you say what you want. There was like fried plantain, fried yam, cooked yam, but only till 12 or 1. It was finished very quickly. Then plain rice, jollof rice, tomato stew, lettuce, vegetables, which were steamed cabbage and carrots. Then pepe, green pepe, which is spicy. Oh, and beans. I forgot the beans. Oh, how could I forget the beans? Because I did not like spicy, I couldn't eat the pepe. The tomato stew was, unfortunately, it was made with fish or meat, so there was not really a sauce which I was able to eat, except ketchup. For the lettuce and the vegetables, I stopped eating them after the typhoid. I usually stick with the fried plantain, fried yam, cooked yam, plain rice, and the beans. Usually I just went up and said plain rice 5 cities, because that was the usual amount. Beans 3 cities, sometimes 4 cities when I was more hungry. And plantain 2 cities, which was basically 2 pieces of plantain like this size. Or sometimes I just said 5 cities of fried yam with ketchup and 3 cities of beans. Later, because we were able to cook at home, I usually took some food with me. Because usually in Tamale it was around 40 degrees, you want to make sure that your food does not spoil till lunchtime. And I didn't know, but luckily Phoebe knows a lot. Phoebe told me that in order for me to take my food out of the fridge with me to the studio, I need to heat it before, so it would last till lunch. After lunch, there's snack time. The things I ate as a snack were also the things I usually took with me when going to different places and not being in Tamale. So these were also the things which were easy to get in other communities or smaller communities. So my always go-to was the Nutri snack. Nutri snack is like 2 packages of oats biscuits, which always were a lifesaver for me. There are these potato crackers. They are really delicious. They are also very addictive and probably not that healthy, but they taste good. Other maybe more healthy snacks are roasted yam and roasted plantain. I'm not a huge fan about roasted plantain. This is what I would call street food as well, because it's sold next to the street and because it was heated and it was always on fire, so it was really hot. I wouldn't maybe necessarily buy it at a very busy street or in a very dirty environment. I would maybe not do that, but usually it was fine. And it's usually served or put in newspaper and a black rubber bag. So yeah, that's how you take it. And it was really nice and delicious. It's usually just yam or plantain just put on the fire without salt, without oil, without anything, just the yam and plantain itself. And this is usually eaten with peanuts. So you get like a small bag of peanuts. Don't let me use the word peanuts, it's ground nuts. Usually when you say peanuts, no one will know what you mean. In Tamale I also got dates. There are different kinds of dates, like the really dry ones and the medium dry ones, and I think also the soft ones. The really dry ones are really nice and sweet and delicious. There's also popcorn or popped millet, which is also really nice if it's fresh. And usually you get these just like groundnuts in a plastic bag or in a plastic bottle, which is then, like, because of the amount, it's more expensive. These are the things you basically can get everywhere. Coming to Dinner. Usually we ate, when we were working at the studio, we came back home around 7. We usually prepared some vegetable stew or some other soup. We usually prepared it on the weekend, so it was easy just to take it out of the fridge and heat it. Let me dive into the world of stews and soups. Usually all these stews and soups are made with fish and meat. We have vegetable stew and tomato stew, okra stew and okra soup, peanut soup, nut soup and light soup, ayoyo and tizet, which I never really tried, so I cannot say much about it. Ayoyo is just really, really green and looks really healthy and looks also really delicious, but I've actually never tried it. Garden stew. Oh, alefu stew, or contumely stew. Contumely and alefu are 2 different kinds of leaves. In the north there's more alefu, in the south there's more contumely. That's it on the vegetable side. On the other side, as I mentioned before, there's spaghetti. There's rice, local rice and foreign rice. If you want to make it more fancy, you add coconut to your rice or coconut oil to the rice, and it tastes delicious already, like with just small drops of coconut oil. Jollof rice is usually made with tomato paste and small cut bell pepper and carrots and onions. Then there's fried and cooked yam. Plantain, also cooked or fried. Kokonte is basically dried cassava fufu. There's also benku. Benku is made with cassava and corn dough, and you cook it and add water to it, and you make small or big balls out of it, and these balls last for I think even 1 or 2 weeks, and you can store them outside. When we were at the house, Phoebe always used to make them, and so we had some benku throughout the week. There's also fufu. Fufu is made, there's cassava fufu, there's yam fufu, there's fufu with plantain, I believe. There's different types of fufu, but fufu always needs to be pounded, and you have to have this wooden thing, which we, in the house where we lived later, we didn't have, so we actually never did fufu. There's wache. Wache is rice with beans and wache leaves. It's a little radish, and it tastes really nice with shito. And shito you can do without the fish inside. There are also restaurants and all that in Tamale, and which are really nice. Usually we went to Dio. It was a Lebanese restaurant, so they had falafel, and the falafel was really nice and really delicious, and they had hummus. So I was familiar with these things. They also had Ghanaian food options. Phoebe, although in the end she always tried one falafel. she was happy with her spicy noodles or other Ghanaian food or chicken or fries or whatever. So it was a good place for both of us to go to, where we both had nice food options. There are also other places in Tamale, or they have really nice food. For Accra, I cannot believe, but I had my best tofu there, and it was so freaking delicious. It was so good. It's called Sunshine Salad Bar, and it's in Osu in Accra. I can only recommend. That's it. The tofu is unbelievable good. Everything is nice in this restaurant. Everything. Concerning what to drink, because food always goes together with drinking, like except water, there's sobolo, which you can drink, which is hibiscus cooked with spices, with ginger, for example, and pineapple, and they add sugar. Yeah, sobolo goes well with polo. Polo is a coconut flour kind of sweet thing. There's also tiger nut milk, which is nice. There are like other drinks, but these are the drinks I was drinking. Of course, there's like Coca-Cola or like any other soft drink you can get there too. And concerning water, because water is life, first time I only drank bottled water. Then I was getting frustrated because I was so tired of drinking hot bottled water, because when you leave it somewhere, no matter if it's in the shade, it will get hot. You want to have chilled water, so you either buy a chilled bottle of water or these sachets. These sachets are not the same everywhere. In Tamale, I drank the Baltic sachets, and I tried to avoid drinking sachets or any other sachets because they either had like a weird taste to it, or I didn't know like how good the quality actually is, or what type of water is inside these sachets. Yeah, usually when we traveled, I drank bottled water. At the house, we also drank the water from the sachets. You don't drink tap water, never drink tap water. Did I miss any food? I noticed that I am flexible with food. I really enjoyed eating the Ghanaian food when I customized it a little and left the chicken out and the fish or other meat. I was lucky that Phoebe knew all the dishes, so she was able to teach me. Things I thought would be hard or were hard the first month was definitely chocolate. I still haven't eaten any chocolate. But because of the cocoa powder, that craving was kind of satisfied. I wouldn't say that I ate healthy all the time. I think in the end it got better. I was struggling in the beginning with not eating that many vegetables. I compensated that with fruits. The protein, how to get to your protein is like you just ate a shit ton of beans and you'll survive. Or I survived. I was fine. Or I cannot remember missing a food that much. Alright, I hope you're hungry. The Ghanaian cuisine is a nice cuisine and it's delicious, and the Ghanaians are really good in preparing food. And also I noticed that food needs to be done very well, and I find it as the biggest compliment if a Ghanaian actually eats my food. I noticed that they are very critical. Yeah, maybe it doesn't speak to every Ghanaian, but that's the experience I made. Alright, thank you for watching, and yeah, if you have any questions, as always, just ask me, text me.
They call you crazy till your genius fly. I let it be and send a wish up to the sky. That's some wisdom from the older folk. They told me that we gon' be alright. But if I could wish upon